Start with a list. The Babylonians, gone. The Hittites, gone. The Assyrians, the ones who skinned their enemies alive and had the audacity to brag about it in stone carvings, gone. The Akkadians, the Scythians, the Phoenicians, every last one of them swallowed whole by the grinding machinery of time, leaving behind nothing but ruins, loanwords, and undergraduate thesis papers. History is littered with the wreckage of civilizations that believed themselves indestructible. Most of them were wrong. So explain this. Iran, a country invaded repeatedly, systematically by the most devastating military machines the ancient world ever produced. Alexander the Great came through here. Roman legions bled into this soil. Arab armies swept in under the banner of a new and absolute faith. Genghis Khan, the man whose campaigns killed more human beings as a percentage of world population than any conflict until the 20th century, came through and reduced entire cities to geometry, just flat ground and silence. Any one of those should have ended the story. All four together is not bad luck. That's a coordinated assault by the universe itself. And yet, same language, same New Year, Nowruz, celebrated in the same mountains for 3,000 years, same poetry, same stubborn, magnificent, slightly maddening refusal to vanish. For centuries, we've understood this story through faded manuscripts and broken column stumps. But now, using AI trained on historical sources, we can reconstruct what those worlds actually looked like. The fire temples of Persepolis, the charge of Parthian cavalry, the turquoise domes rising over a conquered city. You're about to watch 5,000 years of one civilization's refusal to die. Let's go back to before any of it began. Every history of Iran you've encountered probably starts with Persia, the Achaemenids, Cyrus, Darius, the Greeks, the whole cinematic sweep. That framing is, to put it charitably, a bit like starting the story of music with the Beatles. 7,000 years ago, long before anyone called this place anything in particular, something extraordinary was happening on the Iranian plateau. The Giroft culture in the southeastern desert built urban settlements and artistic traditions sophisticated enough to embarrass their contemporaries. The unmistakable fingerprints of a people who had collectively decided that civilization was worth the effort. The first geopolitical heavyweight here was Elam, capital at Susa, with a talent for making Mesopotamian giants deeply uncomfortable. By the 3rd millennium BC, the Elamites were dictating terms to the Sumerians. But the single most clarifying fact comes from the 23rd century BC. The Akkadian king Naram-Sin went to war with Elam, and when the conflict ended, it ended not with a massacre or a victory monument, but with a written document, a treaty, guaranteed independence, defined obligations, signed by both parties. The first international treaty in recorded human history was signed here on the Iranian plateau, centuries before Greece existed as a concept worth discussing. The next time someone implies this region was civilization adjacent rather than civilization originating, that's the fact. Use it freely. Before the Iranian plateau produced armies worth fearing, it produced something considerably more durable, an idea. A prophet named Zarathustra, whom the Greeks called Zoroaster, looked at the structure of the cosmos and arrived at a conclusion no major religious tradition had reached before him. The universe, he said, is a war, a total, uncompromising conflict between Ahura Mazda, the god of light, truth, and order, and Angra Mainyu, the embodiment of darkness and destruction. Not metaphor, architecture. To be Iranian was not merely an ethnic fact, it was a cosmic allegiance. But that wasn't even Zoroastrianism's most radical claim. The revolutionary one was this: time is not a circle. Every civilization before Zoroaster understood time as cyclical. The seasons return, the Nile floods again, history repeats and means nothing. Zoroaster said, no. Time is a line, a beginning, a direction, and an end, a final battle, a purification, a last judgment. That sequence should sound familiar. When Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon in the 6th century BC, he freed the Jewish exiles held captive there. For 2 centuries, Judea was a Persian province. Jewish theologians absorbed Zoroastrian eschatology, the end times, the resurrection, the judgment, and those ideas flowed directly into Christianity, and from Christianity into Islam. Friedrich Nietzsche acknowledged it plainly. Iran gave Western consciousness the concept of linear time, the coordinates within which we still navigate existence. Iran didn't just participate in the story of civilization, it wrote several of the assumptions nobody thinks to question. In 550 BC, a man named Cyrus united 2 rival Iranian peoples, the Persians and the Medes, and built something the world had genuinely not seen before, an empire constructed not on terror, but on administration. Every empire before the Achaemenids ran on a simple model: arrive with overwhelming force, establish credibility through massacre, extract tribute, repeat. Effective the way a sledgehammer is effective. Cyrus tried something different. When he took Babylon, the greatest city in the world, he didn't burn the temples or enslave the population. He issued the Cyrus cylinder, a declaration in clay guaranteeing freedom of religion and cultural autonomy. He helped rebuild the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. He publicly worshipped Babylon's own gods. Was this altruism? Almost certainly not. It was genius. An empire where conquered peoples feel respected rather than humiliated doesn't require a garrison in every city. Darius I industrialized the approach: 20 administrative provinces, unified coinage, and the royal road, a highway network where royal couriers could cross the empire in 7 days. Nearly 50 million people, half the population of the earth, lived under this system. Then came Greece, Marathon, Thermopylae, 300 Spartans, the movie. Here is what the mythology omits. The Achaemenid Empire barely noticed. Losing a few Greek coastal cities was a paper cut on a bear. The Persians changed tactics, funded Athens against Sparta and Sparta against Athens, until in 382 BC, an exhausted Greek coalition signed a peace treaty on terms written by the Persian king. Persia couldn't take Greece by force, so it bought it. Then, slowly, the machine rusted, stretched too thin, fractured by succession crises, and a 20-year-old Macedonian came smelling the weakness.
In 330 BC, Alexander torched Persepolis. His own generals reportedly wept as it burned. To everyone watching, it looked like an ending. The Greeks who inherited the empire tried cultural replacement, Hellenization, Greek language, Greek customs, Greek names for everything, systematic, thorough, and it failed with a comprehensiveness that should have been instructive to every empire that followed. Because here is the thing about burning a palace. You can do it. What you cannot do, what no one has ever managed across the full span of recorded history, is burn a culture. Alexander himself was the proof. Within years of his conquest, he was wearing Persian robes, adopting Persian court etiquette, marrying Persian noblewomen. The Hellenization project did not transform Iran into Greece. It transformed the Greeks into something considerably more Persian. By the 3rd century BC, the Parthians had expelled the Seleucids entirely. Their ruler took the ancient title Shahanshah, King of Kings, and declared himself heir to the Achaemenid legacy. The machinery of Persian civilization had not been destroyed. It had been waiting for the Greeks to finish embarrassing themselves. The Parthians held the line against Rome for centuries. 3 Roman invasions, 3 Roman disasters. Then, the Sassanid dynasty rose in 224 AD and raised the stakes further. A centralized state, Zoroastrianism as official doctrine, and 400 years of continuous war against first Rome and then Byzantium. For a time, the world had 2 superpowers, Constantinople in the west, Ctesiphon in the east. The problem with 400 years of war is what it eventually does even to the winner. By the 630s, the Sassanid Empire was hollow, treasury empty, army spent, aristocracy fractured. Out of the Arabian desert came something they had no model for. In 651 AD, the last Sassanid Shah was murdered. Iran fell to the Arab Caliphate. Islam arrived. Arabic was imposed. Observe what this moment did to every civilization it touched. Egypt, Arabic. Syria, Arabic. North Africa, Arabic. Ancient Coptic, Syriac, Berber, reduced to liturgical remnants. The Arabization of the Middle East was close to total. These were not weak cultures. They were old and deeply rooted, and they were gone as living civilizations within a few generations. Iran did not become Arab. What the Iranians did instead was either a masterpiece of cultural resilience or the most sophisticated act of passive resistance in the historical record, depending on your temperament. They accepted Islam, genuinely, deeply, permanently, but they kept Farsi, kept Nowruz, kept their poetry and administrative traditions, and then, with the quiet efficiency of people who had been running empires since before the Arabs had cities, they staffed the entire Abbasid Caliphate's bureaucracy. The government of the Islamic world ran on Persian talent. Persian became the second language of Islamic high culture from Baghdad to Mughal India. The great scientific and philosophical texts that would later fuel the European Renaissance traveled west through Persian translation. Iran lost the military contest. In every other sense that matters, it won. If the Arab conquest was a near-death experience, what arrived in 1220 was something for which near-death is an inadequate description. Genghis Khan did not conquer territories, he deleted them. Nishapur, a city of perhaps 1 million people, one of the great intellectual centers of the Islamic world, was not occupied, it was killed. Accounts describe the slaughter so complete that when the killing was done, the Mongols returned to kill the cats and dogs, so nothing would remain to witness what had happened. Merv, Rai, Herat, one after another, deleted. The Qanat irrigation systems that had made agriculture viable in the Iranian desert for 3,000 years were systematically destroyed. The population of Iran may have fallen by half. By any reasonable measure, this was not a setback, this was an ending. And then, something that should not have been possible. Hulagu Khan, Genghis's grandson, founded a Mongol state on the ruins, the Ilkhanate. Within a generation, these men from the steppes, who measured wealth in horses and slept on frozen ground, began building Persian-style mosques with turquoise domes. They made Persian the official state language. They funded Persian miniature painting, one of the most delicate art forms in history, requiring exactly the kind of refined patience that is the categorical opposite of Mongol steppe culture. Timur came in the 1380s and repeated the destruction, towers of skulls, absolute annihilation. He was also the man who carried Iran's finest artisans back to Samarkand in open admiration. His descendants, the Timurids, presided over a Persian cultural renaissance. The Iranian code was not merely surviving its conquerors, it was reprogramming them. In 1501, a teenager named Shah Ismail emerged from 3 centuries of chaos, united the plateau, and made a decision that would define Iran for the next 500 years. He declared Shia Islam the state religion. This is easy to misread as theology. It was geopolitics. The Safavids were surrounded by Sunni powers, the Ottoman Empire to the west, the Uzbek confederations to the northeast. By anchoring Iranian identity in Shia Islam, Shah Ismail manufactured a permanent wall of difference. Iran would not be absorbed into the Ottoman orbit. It would be something specific, bounded, and resistant to integration by virtue of being categorically distinct. The Safavids also built in Isfahan some of the most breathtaking architecture on earth. Mosques of such geometric precision and color that visitors who have seen photographs consistently report the photographs did not prepare them. The culture that had spent millennia surviving was once again demonstrating that survival had never been its actual ambition.
By the 19th century, Iran was a pawn. The Qajar dynasty presided over a period of painful contraction. 2 wars with Russia stripped Iran of modern Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan permanently. By 1907, Britain and Russia had formally divided the country into spheres of influence without consulting Iran. The British pumped oil through the Anglo-Persian Oil Company, eventually BP. Russians garrisoned the north. During the First World War, all 3 major empires used Iranian territory as a campaign theater, while Iran was too weak to object. A country that once governed half the world's population was now a stage on which other people performed their dramas. In 1925, Reza Shah Pahlavi seized power and began modernizing with the energy of someone who found the situation personally offensive. Railways, industry, secular education, a professional army, and then, in 1935, he sent a circular to every foreign government on Earth. Stop calling this country Persia. The word carried a specific weight in the Western imagination. Fairy tales, exotic backwardness, a civilization in the past tense, a museum exhibit. Reza Shah was finished with it. The country's name was Iran, had always been Iran, the name these people had given themselves 4,000 years ago. It was not bureaucratic housekeeping, it was a statement. We are not your romantic ruin. We are a nation older than your civilization, and you will use our name. The 20th century was not finished with Iran. In 1953, the CIA and British intelligence removed Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, whose central crime was attempting to nationalize Iranian oil so Iranians might benefit from it. The Shah was reinstated. The grievance was banked, and it drew compound interest. In 1979, it was paid. The Islamic Revolution dismantled the monarchy, expelled American influence, and reoriented Iran's entire geopolitical posture in months. The hostage crisis, 8 years of war with Iraq, a conflict in which the United States supplied Saddam Hussein with intelligence and quietly looked away from chemical weapons. Decades of sanctions, nuclear standoffs, proxy conflicts across the Middle East. And here we arrive at the paradox the entire 5,000-year story has been building toward. Today, 2 completely different countries exist in the Western imagination under the same geography. Iran triggers sanctions, nuclear programs, geopolitical threat, a country people have postures about. Persia somehow never died. Persia is romance, the Shahnameh's 60,000 rhyming couplets, the poetry of Hafez still consulted as an oracle in Iranian homes, the turquoise domes of Isfahan catching afternoon light in a way that makes atheists reconsider. Persia is something people feel reverence for. Iran is something people have opinions about. 2 names, 1 country, a war between them that has nothing to do with armies, a war over how a civilization is permitted to be seen, as a threat to be managed or as a 5,000-year achievement to be understood, as a problem on a map or as the culture that gave the world its first conception of human rights, the operating system of linear time, and a language so resilient it outlived everyone who tried to kill it. Iran has been doing this for a very long time. It absorbs, it waits, it insists on its own terms. The battle of the 2 names is simply the current iteration. And if 5,000 years of evidence counts for anything, Iran is patient. It knows how this ends. Thanks for watching. Creating videos like this takes an enormous amount of research and time. It's mainly a passion project for me, piecing together 5,000 years of history into one story. If you enjoyed this journey through Iran's evolution from the world's first treaty to the battle over its own name, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. And let me know in the comments, what civilization would you like to see next? As always, we'll see you in the past.